Recording started. Okay, so we are recording, and Michelle, you're kicking us off today.
Okay, welcome to the April, almost May, the last day of April, and our monthly presidents and advisors monthly meeting. Um, just to give you a quick overview of our agenda today, we'll go over some 2024 planning, our usual chapter resources and some updates on those things that we have coming up. And then lastly, the roundtable and calendar check, which is a monthly feature of these meetings. Just a reminder that today we're in April 30th. This is our April meeting, and here is our list of meetings coming up for the remainder of the year. Some of those meetings happen on the regular last Tuesdays of the month for you, but then others where we have a lot of things going on in those months. We've joined up with TMN Tuesdays in July, October, November, and December. So those days for those meetings have shifted just a little bit. So we will send you reminders each month as those roll through. A reminder again that these meetings are always recorded. We will share the notes when available after the meeting, as well as the recording. Coming back up to, we've started offering this or presenting this slide at the beginning of the year with our new staff that have started, and just trying to get organized from the state office level of to help you know where to go for different questions that you come up with at your local chapter level. For anything, most of the things are on the website, and so we offer that as kind of the first go-to one-stop shop for the majority of information and answers to your questions. Secondly, myself and Mary Pearl, you could come to us with a chapter management issue, a discipline action or incident report, and specifically a discipline action that you haven't already or a discipline action that you've addressed at your local chapter level, but has become, needs more attention. And then any advanced policy question. Hannah joined us in late December, really the new year. And Hannah is your go-to for chapter training resources, Texas Master Naturalist brand and logo questions. And we've highlighted that one this month because we've particularly seen a few more brand and logo questions come in this month with some specific questions on new drawings. And I don't know, Hannah, if you wanted to mention anything about policy reminders on that one, since we've highlighted it.
The main things is just remember that when you use your chapter logo on anything, it can't be distorted, stretched, then any different colors, anything like that. And that your chapter logo needs to be the Master Naturalist logo with your chapter name underneath it. So.
And there's resources that you're going to be working on, Hannah, and you'll talk on the next slide a little bit about some of those upcoming resources too.
And then Hannah is your go-to for any chapter to state office communication. We also have the VMS help desk, as VMS is always a question from members and chapters. So help desk resources are listed there. And then chapter website, which is our WordPress. If there's issues there, AgriLife First Call is your contact there. And then Hannah, we wanted to mention, I mentioned earlier that Hannah's been on with us for, she joined us in the last half of December, right before the holidays. Had to work through her holidays, having just started. But really has been going through training in December, and then really has picked up steam here in the new year. And these are all of her major highlighted tasks that she's been working on. And we wanted to show this today because with the addition of Hannah and her great work, she's been able to accomplish so much more with her as a resource added to the program. We have the 25th anniversary report coming out soon. the National Volunteer Month, and Hannah's going to talk about that with some of the new features we did in National Volunteer Month. There's those things have been completed, but really there's like I would put half check marks on some of these other things. New training class survey that's coming out. You're going to get a big dose of that information today and an update. And then she's done a great job digging into the chapter templates and resources and starting to flesh those out for our chapters, which we'll see rolling out here in the next half of the year. And then another reminder that Hannah's available for your chapter liaison opportunities to come talk at your new training classes, give a overview of the Master Naturalist program, introduction, can schedule appearance with her either in person or virtual, and then any other chapter major events such as anniversaries and things like that going on. One of the things, Hannah's been behind the computer a lot, behind a screen, and so we'd like to get her out in 3D, so meet you in person. Anything else you wanted to say, Hannah? About your first 5 or 6 months?
If there's any chapter resources that you think would be beneficial for you, feel free. I'm open to ideas. I am creating some of those, so there'll be templates for y'all to use, and then also tutorials on how to use them. So get excited for that. Now we have National Volunteer Month recap. If you have noticed on social media, we've had a big National Volunteer Month campaign. I hope you enjoyed it. We did a little more sharing on Facebook because we tried to do a better job at sharing some of y'all's accomplishments and also just highlighting y'all on all of our social medias across the board. So first of all, once again, thank you for all that you do as our volunteers. We wouldn't be what we are without you. We genuinely really greatly appreciate that. If you want to see a good wrap up about our National Volunteer Month, you can check that out on our website at the link right there. Yes, we can drop the link in the chat, and you can see that's one of our socials that we put out. That's a little carousel that we did for our state numbers. And then we also, of course, had that chapter template for y'all for your chapter numbers. Go on to the next slide. So for the social media campaign, again, go check out our socials if you missed anything. We celebrated Earth Day during this month. We celebrated Arbor Day during this month. And we also made a point to try and highlight as many of y'all as possible throughout the month. So again, just go check out our socials if you haven't yet.
What was that link? I was going to try and drop it. Okay, I'll drop that in the chat. Sorry, Hannah.
You're good. And then, as I mentioned, we're trying to shout y'all out a little bit more, and we're going to try to keep doing that throughout the year as well. But we started in National Volunteer Month. So if you have anything like this, feel free to message it to us, email us a link, or send it to us on Facebook or Instagram, wherever it is. We follow all of y'all, and that's a lot of content, so we might miss something. So if you have a big thing, you were featured in a big article, or just had a really big achievement happen, feel free to send that our way because we might have missed it, and then we'll get that shared on our socials.
It's also a great way to not only to recognize y'all, but also to see what other chapters are doing, to learn about some of their programming that they're doing as well as and some of the ways that they're seen out in their community. So it's exciting to get to see one of the accomplishments, but then two, how diverse our volunteers are out and about across the state.
And we also, and then in that link that Mary Pearl dropped to our blog for the National Volunteer Month post, you can also see this is our 2023 annual report. So you can see some of our statistics and numbers there. You might see some familiar faces in there as well. These are photos that we pulled for our National Volunteer Month campaign from your social media accounts. And you can check that out on our website as well. Finally, to kind of wrap up Volunteer Month, we are working on getting our 25th anniversary report out to you. It will be out soon. And so something you look forward to with that is it highlights some state program awards, statistics across the years, some chapter project highlights, the history of the program, and a whole lot more. It's a long report, but it's a really good one. So we hope y'all will enjoy it when it comes out.
So just 4 of those slides showed you just a little piece of what Hannah's doing. Michelle gave her kudos, and I want to share mine. Having Hannah on for the last 5 months has been a huge win for the program, for not only for us in the state office, for y'all in the chapters as well. So we could not have done all of this amazing work without her, and so appreciate you being here, Hannah. Again, we're using pictures throughout today's presentation from the photo art and media contest at last year's annual meeting. So I've gotten to enjoy getting to see some of these pictures some more.
One of the best parts of making slides is looking through all the photos to see what you want to add to them.
Yeah.
This is something y'all probably have been waiting for, our training class survey. Just to reiterate it again, the goal is to understand how chapters are currently formatting their initial training classes so that we can provide more relevant resources in the curriculum updates. And so there will be 2 surveys going out. The email's going to go out sometime later today. The first one is the big long one that we've been talking about, the new member training class survey. And that's the one designed to collect all the information about how you conduct trainings. It's a very long one, very in-depth one. The email will kind of break it all out. And in that email, you'll get a link to the survey as well as a PDF of questions for the survey. And that is a single response survey. So you can work on it together as presidents and training directors as a group to prepare your responses before you take the survey, but only one person is able to actually go in and submit the answers. And then the second survey that you're going to get is the speaker master list survey. And this one's designed to create a list of speakers that chapters have used across the years. So then it just becomes a bit of a database and resource for chapters. If you're looking for a new person to speak on ornithology and you want some ideas, you can email us. This will be housed at the state office. You can email us and we'll send you some recommendations based off of people that other chapters have used. This is a multi-response survey. So each speaker will be one response. You'll fill out all the information for one person, hit submit, and then go in and do that for additional people. But again, to avoid duplicates from an individual chapter, we ask that one person fills out the survey. And this can be another situation where you all collaborate, make sure you have all your speakers in order, and then assign one person to go in and actually type all the things in and click all the buttons. So a highlight on kind of what the surveys are going to ask. We touched a lot about this in that roundtable if you either were there or watched the video afterwards, but the big training class survey will cover some demographic questions about yourself, and then new member applications, the training schedule, financial questions, curriculum units and how you teach them, engagement, the end of training, and then there will be a couple of concluding questions for that one. And then the speaker master list survey, it asks things such as your chapter, so we know where you're located, the speaker's first and last name, their company or affiliation, their location, their contact information, both phone and email, their topic area that they speak on, and then any notes or comments that can be something like, well, they only do virtually right now, or they were really great, or they needed these requirements, things of that nature that a chapter might want to know when booking something.
Yeah, the more information that we can gather with that speaker master list, the more useful that tool then becomes for other chapters who are looking for an ornithology instructor in the East Texas region that can host it on these types of programming. So while tedious it may be, it's a resource that is only going to feed back into other chapters. So please help to fill that out thoroughly.
And it's a resource that will be made only as rich as you can help us get it. So the more input you can provide, the better.
Yeah, and so for timeline for both of these surveys, as I mentioned, they're going to be hitting your inboxes sometime this afternoon. To the same list, all the presidents and training directors as listed in VMS as of today. And in the meeting, we talked about having a PDF copy of the questions so that you can look at them beforehand. That will be attached in the email as well. So you're getting the survey link and the PDF all in one email. So it's all in one spot for you. The training director or the training class survey, responses are due by May 31st. This is so I can collect all the data, go through all the data, and then have it ready to present to y'all again at a timely manner. So we also need those responses in a timely manner. I know that a month might feel long, might feel short, depending on who you are, but that's what we got for the timeline. But for the master list, our timeline is June 30th. So you have 2 months for that one. And we hope to have these results presented to y'all virtually somewhere around the end of the summer, and then again at the annual meeting in person.
So that end of the summer, new training class directors is that roundtable that y'all requested, that your new training class directors requested as another touch point for them to be able to roundtable, to discuss with Hannah, to generate ideas amongst each other, but also for her to be able to present some of these results to her, back to them.
And then while we're on the topic, oh, go on, Michelle.
Oh, Wanda has a great question about the speakers list, and she asks if we should ask our speakers if they're willing to talk to other chapters before we put them on the survey.
Could be beneficial, yes. Also knowing where they are willing to go, or if they're willing to do virtual presentations. Also, if the chapter is willing to do virtual presentations, that could be beneficial, yes.
I would bet that most of your speakers are pretty willing to for their information to be shared. If you have a few that you're hesitant about, might be nice to check in with them. But most of our agency staff members that are also speakers are probably likely speaking at more than one chapter. But local private individuals, you might check with them first. It's a good point.
And then while we're on the topic of training, new member training, don't forget that we have a spot in our Naturalist News page on our blog for you to submit your updated training information so that we can have it all in one place for people who might be looking for that information. So if you go to that link on the slide, then you will find a form there and you can fill out the information for your next training class, and we'll get that added to that post.
All right. Am I doing this or are you doing this? You're doing this, Michelle.
I can't remember. Go ahead.
I think you're doing this stuff because then
Okay,
I get into the
I'll do it.
annual meeting.
So over the past month or more, we've had our Master Naturalist curriculum survey out, lots of surveys. So we're doing back-to-back-to-back surveys going on now. We're in the final days to submit your responses for those 2 surveys that went out regarding the curriculum. And this is to kick us off on a new update review project for the 2nd edition of the Master Naturalist curriculum. Again, we've reiterated several times that this is a multi-year project that we're just starting to kick off now, with these surveys being the first pieces of that. We have 2 surveys that have gone out repeatedly over the listserv. One is how we want to know how you're using the book. And then the other survey is out there to collect any additional errors and updates of the current edition that you believe need to be make sure we check on. And we've been collecting these errors and updates since the book was published. But if there are more, science changes over the last, however, 10 years. And so if there are more errors and updates that need to be made, please let us know through this survey, the other Survey Monkey, that will drop here, the links here in a minute. And again, this is another one that we need some pretty specific information on. So we bolded there, it's vital that you share page and paragraph information to help us find these and get right to the edits that need to be made. And so there's just May 1st, tomorrow is our deadline we have set on that. So another reminder went on the listserv yesterday. But if you could take some time, if you have some items to share about the curriculum, please take some time to add those to those 2 surveys.
So some of the discussion in the chat is from Carolyn. Who did these surveys go out to? So we have, and I'm going to sidetrack us just a second here outside of the curriculum. We have an email listserv that's set up as our main way of getting information from the state office to all master naturalists. It is the easiest way for us to share quick emails with survey links, with information, event announcements, things like that. The email listserv is on our website. We highlight it on social media as much as we can sometimes, but please encourage your members to join that email listserv so that they can get the same information. I also know that there are a few chapters that will then reshare our listserv announcements to their Google groups, to their email lists. Will then post it to their individual chat functions, whatever they may have, Slack, something like that, as a way to just kind of emphasize some of that information. So yes, Carolyn, we did send it out to the listserv. Please let me know if you need me to kind of help with some of the time management on opening that survey up just a little bit longer for your members. This is important. This curriculum project is really important. We don't want to delay it much longer, but we really do need as much input as we can. Perfect.
So Gene asked how could he differentiate if he had taken it already. You can take it again.
You can take it again. Yep. You can take this one again. If not, Gene, I guess email me and I'll see if I can find. We didn't ask you. There's no way I could
wasn't
find out.
mandatory to.
It's anonymous, and it's anonymous. Yeah, it's anonymous, so I don't have your name in there. So yeah, take it again.
Okay. All right.
The first one is quick. It's not very expansive or extensive. I think you could get through that in maybe 5 minutes. The second one is probably more intensive than the second survey is probably more intensive than the first.
The second survey is going to remain open. So that errors and updates survey, the number 2 on the slide here, that one's going to remain open for the next several months. Any information that we get now will help us in this early setup of our update for the content, but we will be keeping that open for at least a while. There's no timeline on closing that at this time. Okay, Michelle, you want to do pins?
So another reminder about pins, our new recertification pins and milestone pins, from first year certification all the way up through Friends, and 2,500 hours is available for order through the new AgriLife Learn store, where the pins process is new, not the AgriLife store isn't new. But the pins being available at the store is new this year. So those pins are available through that process. I don't know, have you checked, Mary Pearl, if there are chapters that still need to get enrolled?
I have not checked. I will recheck.
So this was part of the getting enrolled process in the AgriLife store, AgriLife Learn store, that we had going on in the early part of the year. Most of our chapters, we had a good share of our chapters that were done with that. Just a handful of those that did not or hadn't yet. But that's the process to go to and order kind of those lower milestone levels, recertification pins and annual recertification pins. Orders for the 4,000 hour, 5,000 hour, 10,000 hour and above awards would come to me. We have the form on the website also, so you can put your order there. I check it once a month, pull the awards, get things ordered that I need to get ordered, and then send them out. So I actually have a shipment that just came in yesterday here on my desk that I need to get out for last month. So those are coming soon, and then in May we'll do another order of PVSA pins that have come in the last 30 days, and then get those out as well.
And just a preview of what the pins on the AgriLife Learn store looks like.
Am I
You're
doing
doing this.
TMN Tuesdays?
Yeah, you're doing this all the way to annual meeting.
And a reminder, TMN Tuesdays coming up. So April's already gone, flew by. May 14th, we have our No Mo Zones. Rachel Richter is joining us on May 14th with No Mo Zones and talking about a great summer, heading into summer topic. And this is our list that we have on TMN Tuesdays coming up. Again, some of our TMN Tuesdays are joint overlapping with President's meeting. And we try to make that a less of a meeting, more of a leadership and combined topic for you and Master Naturalists alike on those joint combined meetings. TMN Tuesdays, as a reminder, we record those each month. They're always posted on our website after they spool and process. And so those are available. If you have any questions from members of, am I able to watch it afterwards? Yes, they're always on our TMN Tuesday link and posted there. So that's probably the number one question I get after every TMN Tuesday that goes out is, was it recorded? Can I still watch it? So if you can help spread that message. Our virtual volunteer fair closed. We had that April 9th during National Volunteer Week or leading up to National Volunteer Week. Y'all said April was a busy month. We hear you. It sure was a busy month. So virtual volunteer fair closed. All of those projects that were open and available, the project leaders have received the lists now as of this morning. And so if you could help, if you get questions at your local chapter level and let members know that it's now in the project leaders court to contact members and get them set up with advanced training that may need to be done in order to work on that project, or get them set up and signed up with the project. I mentioned TMN Tuesdays coming up May 14th. With No Mo Zones, Rachel Richter, who's one of our urban biologists in the Dallas Fort Worth Metroplex. And so we're excited to have Rachel join us on May 14th. More frequently asked questions on TMN Tuesdays. Again, they're always, TMN Tuesdays within the year are always available for advanced training hours. You can watch TMN Tuesdays either recorded or live in person. They're always recorded and available on our website after the event takes place. You do need to register each month to attend, but you don't need to register in order to watch the recording. So the recording's always available as a link on our website, whether you registered or not. However, if you do register, you can register for the entire year's series. So you can, when you register on the WebEx event site, you can go through and pick the TMN Tuesday sessions that you're going to be available for, or you can just register for all of them and receive the reminders as they come out each month. Most of our TMN Tuesdays are available as up to 1 hour advanced training. Sometimes they last a little longer, but they're available for watching or viewing live recorded for the amount of time that you watched. And then there were some mini series that were available, and those are still available to watch. They're still part of our TMN Tuesday offerings, or they were this year, and those are available to watch as well, live or recorded, for the remainder of the year.
Okay, now here's where I get to talk about the annual meeting. So annual meeting coming up. We're 6 months out, a little less than 6 months out to our annual meeting. Oh my gosh, we were 6 months out 3 days ago. Okay, that got real. Please make sure that these dates this week is on your calendar, on your chapter calendar is blocked off from chapter training, chapter events, other chapter projects. We want every master naturalist to have the opportunity to come to the annual meeting, and we want them to have the dates available on their master naturalist calendars to be able to join us. Tina, I'm going to answer that question in just a second. We are currently on our timeline of annual meeting countdown. We are in the call for proposal stage, so we are collecting presentations, we are collecting field sessions, we're collecting speakers to be the content for the annual meeting. But we need your help on sharing the call for proposals to those speakers that you are hearing within your chapters. You're hearing at your chapter monthly meetings, your training classes, those that you think are worthy, are great, are beneficial, or exciting for other master naturalists to hear. So that's where we are in our timeline, is getting that content put together for our master naturalist agenda. Then if you keep rolling down the agenda, you see I've got some pretty hefty targets on my calendar here of sharing the agenda with you and the rest of the master naturalists in early July, and opening registration the first week of August. That is always my goal, is to give you a full month to look at the full agenda before we open registration. When I share the agenda, I'll also be sharing registration prices at the same time. We will have early and standard registration in August and September, with those dates as they close. And then we've got some contests. I'm going to dive deeper into the contests here today. And then we have our TMN Tuesday project fair, which I'll also talk about here in just a second. So as I mentioned, the call for presentation proposals, we are seeking those topics that are master naturalists related. So thinking, again, those things that you've heard recently or want to hear. Maybe it's a topic that you want to hear, and you want to send me an email that says, Mary Pearl, I want to hear about bats. Then I can be on the hunt for some specific presentations on bats. Don't worry, we have some bat presentations on the docket already. But if there are specific topics as well, please help share those with us. You can just take that email that I have sent out with the call for proposals announcement, send that to those speakers, share that information, and encourage them to apply their presentation today. For our agenda, Carolyn, I'll come back to that. You'll see it on the recording. On the agenda, we have our President's Leadership Reception, aka the President's Meeting. That is going to be on Thursday, October 24th at 4:30 p.m. So for your chapter presidents that are on, for you that are chapter presidents that are on, please join us in person. If not, we will be offering a virtual option for that meeting as well, for just that meeting at this year's annual meeting, to bring those presidents in that aren't able to join us in person. So October's president's meeting will be Thursday, October 24th, 4:30 to 6 o'clock p.m. Once we do open registration, we'll make this announcement again, but you will need to make sure that you've marked that you're attending that as a chapter president, so that we've got enough chairs in the room for you. You'll see our skeleton agenda is starting to flesh out on the right-hand side of the screen there, with field sessions throughout the entire event, classroom sessions on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, our annual awards dinner Saturday night, and contest awards on Sunday morning. I said, Tina, that I was going to get back to the hotel. I don't have a slide for it, but I am going to be sending out a hotel link. My hope was to do it at the end of this week. I'm trying to put all those pieces together. So if not late this week, it'll be early next week that I will have a hotel link that you can go ahead and save your rooms. Go ahead and reserve your rooms for the conference now. Looking at contests. So this is new. Y'all haven't seen this yet. These are also going to be going out this week. Or they'll be posted to our website, but we've got a while to think about them. We have 4 contests that we hold in conjunction with the annual meeting, contest/awards. We have our chapter advisor award, chapter project fair, our video contest, our photo art and media contest. All 4 of those events share the same deadline, which is Sunday, September 15th this year. So diving into them a little bit deeper, our Chapter Advisor Award, this is an opportunity for you to recognize the outstanding individual chapter advisor or a team of chapter advisors that support your chapter in either of those 2 categories. They work hard, and their day jobs does not always include helping to supervise or helping to manage the Master Naturalist chapter. So recognizing those that go above and beyond their typical job descriptions and adding in Master Naturalist programming is a great way to share your acknowledgement of that additional support. So those applications will be due September 15th. Again, not on the website yet, will be on the website by the end of the week. Our chapter project fair is our annual opportunity for chapters to recognize a project that they have hosted or that they are planning on hosting within their chapter, recognizing their individual members, the way that the logistics of that project, its impact, its potential for impact. Our project fair is presented in 2 different formats. The first is an entry in a written format, which is a short written paragraph describing the project. That is due on September 15th. That's the only part that we need from your chapter by September 15th is that short written paragraph describing that project that you are submitting into the project fair. Then on Tuesday, October 8th, our TMN Tuesday in October, those projects selected will then be presented in the TMN Tuesday Project Fair presentation in 20-minute webinar, in a webinar for 20 minutes, talking about those projects through slides, through videos, through talking faces, whatever format you end up choosing to present with. You're presenting those to all of your other fellow chapters, sharing about your project that you've hosted. You're also presenting them to a panel of judges of state leadership, chapter leaders, not from those chapters that are presenting, to make sure that our judges panel is fair, and other conservation partners as well. And then our awards for the chapter project fair includes a monetary project grant, and that is presented during the annual meeting on Saturday.
And just a note about some of these awards and submissions. If you have an interest in being a judge for specifically the project fair, and you know that your chapter isn't going to be submitting a project to be in the contest, we could use help with some we always include volunteer judges on the panel. So our members as volunteers on the panel of judges. So if you have an interest in serving in that capacity, please send me a note.
There we go. 2 more contest/awards. One is our chapter video contest. So this is, I think, like our 11th. This year will be our 11th annual video contest. And this is a chance for your chapter to share a 1 to 3 minute video about a project, a master naturalist, a history, something, an event, a partnership effort, something about your chapter, using a video format to then showcase that individual, that event, that project, that opportunity. And while the weather's really nice outside, it would be great to get some of that video footage in the spring as you guys are gathering and you're working together on different projects. So again, 1 minute to 3 minute videos due September 15th.
Yeah, and keep in mind with these videos, the video contest was kind of designed as an impetus for your to have your chapters produce some social media content for your chapter via reels or other little short videos, MP3s in YouTube format to help communicate what your chapter is doing and all the great things that you're doing. So that's why the shorter,
Release the director in you.
yeah.
And then last but not least is our annual photo art and media contest. This is an opportunity for individual master naturalists to enter their photography, their art, or for you as a chapter to submit your chapter newsletter, your scrapbooks, or your individual chapter brochures into those categories as well. We will be putting out a lot more information about the photo art media contest, some of the logistics of entry, and some of the rules for each of the different categories. But just wanting to make you aware that this is also a contest associated with our annual meeting. Is a lot of fun. And while you're out and about this spring, think about some of those great photos that you're taking and putting them into our photo art and media contest. All right, two more things about the annual meeting. It does take a lot of work to put an annual meeting together, and we do try to keep it as cost efficient for all of our registrants as possible. And that is done in a lot of ways through sponsorship of our annual meeting. We're able to apply those funds directly into reducing the overall registration cost for the conference for each individual, which is why we don't put the registration cost out until we get closer to the event, because I'm always doing the math, trying to apply those sponsorships to reducing those registration rates. So if you as a chapter are interested in sponsoring the annual meeting, please let us know. There's information on our website. And Hannah, if you could drop the link for the annual meeting website into the chat. That page is our kitchen sink of all things annual meeting and really does have lots of different resources, and we'll continue to grow with those resources as we get closer to the event. Sponsorships also help us to add additional features to the conference, like extra coffee and snacks and things like that. So you as a chapter, if you're interested in sponsoring, or if you've got conservation partners out there that you think would be great sponsors, please share this directly with them so that they can provide some of that support for our conference as well. And then vendors, we're always excited to have vendors. It's a great way to find some Christmas presents every year, to learn about different programs, to maybe bring home some stuff for yourself from the conference. So we will have vendors again throughout the annual meeting space this year, and we have our vendor application. It's not so much of an application, it's called a form. It's a way for us to collect information about those that are interested in hosting tables in our vendors at the annual meeting. Okay, Michelle, I went through all the annual meeting things fairly quickly. There's one more thing on annual meeting I forgot about, but did I miss anything in chat?
Tina asked about an online payment for sponsorships. Is there one that's open now, or would that come later?
So we can take a credit card for sponsorships. There's not an online payment form or online payment portal for sponsorships. But if you email me, Tina, I will connect you with our business office who can provide that that easy payment option through credit card. I forgot that I had added this slide in here, y'all. So I said one more slide on annual meeting and I lied. There's one more. So we did confirm with TAMU Press, they are going to offer bulk curriculum orders again this year during the annual meeting. Just as you're planning your fall, your next training class, you will be able to bulk order your curriculums again this year. That order form will be sent out in mid-August with that deadline TBA, but just letting you know that that's an opportunity for you to order your curriculums and save on shipping and have it brought directly to you at the conference. Okay, did I miss anything else about the annual meeting? I'm excited. It's getting closer. 6 months out, y'all.
Lesson.
Less than 6 months now. All right, moving into chapter resources. Some of these slides are repetitive, but we want to make sure that you guys have these resources available to your use. Our website is the one-stop shop for all the things. As Michelle mentioned at the beginning of the meeting, this is where we put our naturalist news, our recordings, our events. You can see we've updated some more buttons on the front slide with links to our annual report. Links to our 25th anniversary, once it goes live, will be here as well, and lots of different resources. That email listserv is linked there. All of that is easy to find on our website. Speaking of websites, our AgriLife IT team is offering a monthly WordPress webinar again. So these are now the first Tuesdays of the month from 12 to 12:45. They are hosted with Teams, but Teams is pretty easy once you've logged into it once or twice. I did send out the link for this meeting to all listed webmasters and chapter presidents. If you have a chapter website and your webmaster did not get my email last week, that's because they are not listed as a webmaster on your VMS. So just make sure that you've updated VMS so that they can get those future notifications about our WordPress webinar or tech trainings. TMN Tech Tuesdays. All right, Michelle, this is you now.
So I promised updates monthly on how the TMN VMS update is coming along. And finally, as of last Thursday, I finally have some news or a real update to give you on some movement that can be made and may be happening here pretty soon. We will be updating a Master Naturalist certification status titles. And for those of you who aren't VMS administrators, this probably means nothing to you. But if those of you who are familiar with the administration of the VMS, you can see down here in the kind of the bottom right-hand corner, these TMN certification statuses that we have. Those are going to be updated to be a little bit more descriptive of what the titles actually mean and do or should be for. And then in addition to that, we're going to be updating the descriptions and information about those in the VMS handbook, administrator's handbook. So that's something that we can be doing now before our consolidation and move. So we'll probably be moving forward with that pretty soon. The other thing that we know with the update of VMS, we know that we're going to be moving out of the world of folders, or life without folders, as we've been calling it. For you as chapters, this probably won't impact you very much because when you log in as an administrator, you're only seeing your chapter folder for the most part. So this won't be a huge change for VMS administrators at the local level. Some of the other kind of folders that we use for organizing information in the VMS will go away or look different. And we're actually going to start using grids and filters for organizing that information. So it'll be, I think in the long run, it's going to be a little bit easier for administrators, VMS administrators at the local level, because once you log into the system, you will just be automatically in your own information, in your chapter's own information, with the grids and filters information in the grids and filters already built. So we're going through that process now of updating that. We can start moving to life without folders now in our system. And so over my meetings that take place weekly, coming up yet this week, we'll be talking about when that can be done, and then moving into discussion about timing and the appropriate notification and information we need to get to our VMS administrators at the local level. So we'll be giving advance notice, and we'll be giving information and training prior to this taking place. So but that I wanted to update you on some things that can be changing sooner rather than later in the system. Aside from those two things, those are kind of coming in the near future. Those two things won't change functionality at the end user for our users inputting volunteer service. It's not going to change the look and feel at all for our end users once we enact these changes. The bigger portion of the changes to VMS is not going to happen until after these things are done. So I've chosen to take change in increments rather than all at once with the update and revision of the VMS system. So we are still preparing our data to get ready to move. So the analogy there that the company has been using is that we're still packing and deciding on things that we want to keep in order to move or before we move. And so we're kind of cleaning up, having the garage sale, getting rid of things that we don't need anymore or things that we don't use anymore in VMS, and getting it ready to clean up, copy, and then move and consolidate over into the TPWD side of the system. So, but that is much, much later down the road.
There's some questions in the chat, Michelle, specifically to that late fall date that you mentioned. Will the late year VMS admin trainings have multiple dates to choose from? Is the end of the year is a busy time? And linked to that same question is if you could help define late fall just a little bit more. Is that after the state meeting?
I can't. I have asked for those exact same questions and clarity myself, and I am not getting it. So I'm sorry. I wish I could give more on dates and timeframes and months. I have. We will need to work around the annual meeting. I have let the development team know that that's a huge effort in our state office part, on everybody's parts, like all the way down to the local chapter level. So I'm sorry. I wish I could give you more
And I'm certain that you're going to
definite
continue
answer
to
to you.
ask.
It pains me that I can't schedule it either.
And Michelle, I'm certain that you're going to continue to ask the team that's working on this, and as soon as you do have an update on a time frame, then you'll share that with us.
Absolutely.
And then Bob has a question about the spreadsheet look or the grid filters. Will we be able to do data mining, either link from spreadsheet or download information to analyze?
So Bob, you'll have all the same reporting features that you have now.
Okay. And then Susan says, thank you. Can we anticipate, Michelle, and this may be a question that you are not able to answer today. Can we anticipate a VMS roundtable or VMS help desk or VMS something at the annual meeting?
Absolutely. At the annual, yeah, I've already prepped the team on, we need to have that. We just don't know what that looks and feels like yet. So all
So
of
we can
this is,
save them a few hours on the agenda somewhere to dive deeper when we get to the conference. Okay.
and related to VMS updates. Yeah, I forgot about this on that previous slide. One of the things that this is the kind of the second piece of the build, second part of the build, or part two of the build. We have asked for, we've gone out this week and asked your chapters over the past week and asked your chapters for a photo that really defines your chapter and where you are. We like to see happy, shining faces, people working in the ecoregion on projects that define your chapter. And ultimately, these are going to be used in the rebuild of VMS to, when a new member not involved with the chapter yet, is searching for their chapter, a chapter to become involved in. This will be kind of your chapter's photo icon in the new upgrade of the system when it gets implemented. So we are in the process of collecting photos for that. And Hannah sent out a request for that earlier this week. And when I forgot to update, we have a pixel update for that. I forgot to add that to this slide. But we're still collecting, we're in the process of collecting those photos from your chapter. So this is a reminder. We've requested them by May 3rd. If you can get that done.
It's a great way to put your chapter's stamp in VMS and help us create it to be a little bit more interactive and personalized to your chapters as well.
For the pixel update, all who have submitted a photo already, from what I've seen so far, they all fit within the requirements, but they want it to be between 800 and 1,000 pixels. So most photos fit within that range.
Oh, some good questions, Michelle, in the chat. Susan asked if that can be updated regularly. So like if one comes in, if they submit one today and then they get this beautiful shot this fall or next year, is that something that can be updated on a regular basis?
I can ask. I'm going to go ahead and probably say not, because this is a developer build, and that costs time and money to the agency to change it
So
continually.
think of a general photo, a really kind of broad general photo. And Cindy asked about a composite picture. No, I would do one single photo. By the time we get these photos scaled down into the icon size, you need something that is going to be visible at a small icon level. So it needs to be one photo. Y'all, I recognize that we are asking you to pick your favorite child here and pick one picture of your entire that represents your entire chapter, and that's going to be really difficult for you to do. But it's a great way. So thankful that Michelle fought for this opportunity for us to be able to have a little bit of our own stamp and look on VMS. Otherwise, it would have just been dragonflies for everybody, and that wasn't going to be pretty. We wanted something that allowed for smiling faces and nice pictures of backgrounds and things like that.
Thing that might help you with deciding what photo to use is think of a photo that best represents your region of Texas. So if you're in the Gulf Coast, what represents that best? Which photo? So maybe it doesn't have as many people in it, but it really shows the area that you're in. That could help you kind of decide which photo is your favorite.
And I'm going to share just a second, just so people can have a visual. And so
It's coming.
I'm sharing,
There it is.
this is a concept. So what you see on the left side of the screen with these state parks, think of this as chapters. So instead of just, like Mary Pearl said, instead of just the Master Naturalist logo for every one of our chapters here, we want you to have some personality and personalization with a photo for your chapter, so that they can be a little bit differentiated from one another as well. So, but think of this as the concept here on the left hand side.
So you see how small those are. That's why one photo really, it needs to be one photo, not a composite, that we can scale down into that size. Okay, I'm going to reshare. I'm just excited it's going to be, it's giving us a chance to get creative and giving us a chance to put our people on it, on VMS. Okay, am I sharing again? Are you able to see the next slide?
Yep.
All right.
Okay, one more update on VMS. I've been doing a lot of work in there right now, and I noticed, please, chapters, go in and update your advisors. You will need the help of your VMS administrator to do that, but please take this opportunity to go in, check who is listed as your advisors for your chapter, and then update that information. I noticed that a lot of advisors, there's some that are just no longer with either agency. You can go ahead and if we're not a member, and we're a read-only login, you can go ahead and delete them out, or archive that. And then get the information updated for who your chapter advisors are now. We've mentioned we have a project that we want to work on with advisors for this year, on kind of updating our advisor guidelines and involving them in that process. But we won't be able to involve them in that process if we don't know who they are. And I noticed a lot of advisors, email addresses were just older and out of date. Like some of the Parks and Wildlife advisor addresses need to be updated. Those do auto forward, but if you can get it, just use this as an opportunity to update the profiles for your advisors in VMS. That would be a huge help.
Y'all, we have about 6 more slides. I recognize that we're over time just a little bit. If you do need to jump off, feel free. We are recording and we will get this recording posted to the website. Michelle, with that, with a little bit longer of a meeting that we are looking like having, there is one more VMS question in the chat about the BAT project.
Yes,
Is there an update on the
I
BAT project
promised
that you
that
can
last
share?
month, and Craig and I are working on the project. Each of the sub coordinator project descriptions. And I apologize, that's just not done yet. We'll get that updated. I had put that on my list this morning to go through
Is
it
that
too.
something that when that gets done, y'all can send an email to all chapter presidents or VMS coordinators and letting them know what that
Yeah,
looks like?
Craig can send a notice to the chapters that are participating in the project.
Perfect. Okay. So that's not an answer today, but an answer that will come later.
Okay, another quick reminder about WebEx. We've had just a couple questions come in over the past month on WebEx. As a reminder, we did slim down on some of the WebEx accounts that we have just because they hadn't been used in over a year. And so reminder that region 1, 2, and 4 WebEx accounts were discontinued. Region 1 now shares with Region 3. Region 2 now shares with Region 5, and Region 4 now shares with Region 6. And so the other major reminders there is that I still go in once a month and update, or delete any old recordings on there. And anything that's older than a month, I'll go in and delete those. But if you could help stay diligent in cleaning up and deleting. Once you've downloaded your meeting, if you've held your meeting and downloaded it, if you could delete it as well. I also work with our agency site administrator to delete the trash on the back end of the account, because that's the piece that clogs up our cloud storage and doesn't allow you to record. So when that gets full, it doesn't allow you to record at your local chapter level. And that affects all of our accounts across the whole agency. So when the trash is full, nobody can record. So just a reminder that that I'll be cleaning that stuff up every month and working with our agency account administrator to keep that clean as well. Please download and delete any recordings as soon as possible once you have your meeting. A reminder to not change the avatar and any profile information for the regional account. When you do set up meetings, before you set the meeting up, check the calendar as far out as you can to make sure that you're not overlapping with somebody else's meeting that's already been established. And then just a reminder, this was the thing that I really noticed this past month. Be specific about your meeting titles, including your chapter name. The meeting titles need to have your chapter name, what the title is, and who the organizer is. I saw one in there that was just Region 3's meeting. Well, we don't know who that is in Region 3. So if there's a problem, we don't know who to contact. So if you could be pretty clear and specific with your meeting titles and who the organizer is, and if there's any questions, we can everybody can get in touch with that person.
Okay. Just a couple more slides. Again, apologize for going over time today. Our AgriLife Learn store, I added a bunch of new items to our store. So there's a bunch of new shirts and hats updated in there as well. And I'm looking to add a few more things and or host an online pop-up store within the next couple of weeks with some summer gear for master naturalists. The temperatures are definitely rising across the state. So our AgriLife Learn store is where we currently host all of our state offered Master Naturalist items. We also have our license plate still available. We're at 647 as of Q1 of 2024. I'll be getting another update here tomorrow at the next beginning of the quarter. So I'll share that on the next president's meeting about our next quarter's total license plate sales. Fun to see these out and about as we go around. I went to an event, it's been 2 weeks now, and there was a row of them, and it was awesome to get to see all those license plates. Yeah, fun to get to see those. And then last but not least, our endowment, our Master Naturalist Endowment. Thank you for those who have continued to share this opportunity with your volunteers, with your individual members. Thank you for those who have contributed to our endowment. This is our snowball that we are growing to continue to provide funding for the Master Naturalist program through a variety of different opportunities in the future. So this fund is continuing, it's in its growth stage right now. So as you are out and about talking to Master Naturalists who are looking for other ways to give back, the Master Naturalist and Endowment is a way to do that. Okay. Now we had a few questions that were submitted for our President's Roundtable. I do apologize that these got pushed after the 1 hour mark. And this is where we need y'all to be interactive and type into chat here. But the North Texas chapter asked us to ask if there were other chapters around the state who are working on translating educational materials, and specifically what types of educational materials. They've got a project like this going, and they just want to know what types of resources and projects you're working on. So if you'll answer that in the chat, that way, I think I saw Rebecca on earlier. She can connect with you. And then the second question that they had was asking about other chapters that have DEI committees and what they're working on right now. There we go. Yes, Rebecca with North Texas chapter. So if you have specific answers to her questions and you want to email her, there is president@ntmn.org. And it looks like there's some DEI chapters out and about. Committees, I said chapters, DEI committees. Okay, so it looks like, Rebecca, you're getting some connections there, some resources to be shared. One of the other question that we got from Rio Brazos chapter, they're having a little bit of a struggle filling positions. She has not been able to find volunteers who can help fill in for the president, or it's specifically the vice president line that they're looking to fill for next year's election, and wanting to know what other chapters have done as a way to recruit potential leaders, train those potential leaders, or identify those potential leaders in advance of elections.
And for Rio Brazos chapter, it'd be helpful to know what mechanisms or methods you've tried also.
I don't remember if I saw her join the call. And if you are on the call from Rio Brazos, if you want to unmute, that would be great. Has anybody else shared in this struggle?
It's I think it's a common struggle that chapters have every year around their annual meeting times. I'd be interested in hearing what strategies chapters have tried to overcome this.
Mm-hmm.
Typically, people just don't raise their hand and say, "I'll do it." You really have to talk to members who you think would be good leaders, and give them information about what's expected, what the duties are, what the time commitment looks like, what some of the big issues might be for the chapter, issues and goals might be for the chapter coming up. Just as with any candidate, they'd like to know what they're getting into. And the things that I see a lot of times these days is people are they like to be asked, but also they are trying to get information to balance what they have going on at home or their home life or personal life, with the leadership of the chapter as well. So that information helps them make a decision.
So can we speak freely here? Am I on?
Sure.
This is Gene.
You're on,
I
Gene.
was gonna say, yeah, we had the same, not a real bad problem, but last year we really didn't have anybody ready to be president. Is that the right word? Ready to step up. And guilt always worked. I mean, that's why I'm here. Um, it seemed like I would rather do the work. I would rather give up a few other things and see the chapter uh, go be listless. So
Yeah. It's the
sometimes,
if not you, then who type of
yeah,
question.
yeah, it really worked that way. It wasn't my ideal. I mean, it's more fun than I thought. It's also more work than I ever thought. But that's about the way, you just find that person, he or she, who would rather the chapter be successful than to worry about their personal agenda, I guess. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. What else from some of those that have shared in this struggle, or who have been the unlucky ones to be pointed at and put in the same position?
This is Ann from the South Texas Border Chapter, and we have a nominating committee that, well, I'm on it. So we go through and we look at the applications that the students put in on each class. And I go back like 3 years. And if they say they're an accountant or they work at a bank or something, then we approach them and say, hey, you've got the background for this. How would you like to help out our chapter? And so we did that to everybody, and we get a slate of officers to vote on.
That's a good way to kind of look at skill sets.
Yes.
For incoming potential chapter leaders.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great suggestion, Anne.
So that members often put a lot of that information in the VMS as well when they fill out their member profile. So previous work history, previous community engagement or involvement, some of that information can be kind of mined from your VMS for your chapter 2.
Okay. If you think of other suggestions, feel free to hold on to those, and we can bring this back up next meeting if that's something that that may take another month worth of thought to think of some good suggestions to share as well.
Mayor Pearl, I have something that's unrelated. I was going to wait to ask the board for their suggestions of a photo to put in that represents our chapter, but our board meeting is not till after your deadline, the date you want them by. So, and I didn't click on it or usually I use my phone and take a picture of it. Where does this photo get sent? Because we have one guy that just takes all the photos, and I'll call him after we get off and ask him, but I don't know what the website was. It's something monkey. Could you put that in the chat so I can write it down
Yes,
where
ma'am.
to send the picture?
Yeah, I sure can. And actually, I think Hannah's beating me to it.
Okay.
Put it in. I still had it up.
There you go.
Okay.
And unfortunately, and I think that is a pretty sharp deadline. Michelle's already
Okay.
pushing it with the developers to get all of that stuff pulled together.
He's pretty good.
I'm going to change slides on y'all. Just one slide here that has our next meeting date is May 28th. May, we've got the 7th, Tech Tuesday, 14th, TMN Tuesday, and the 28th is our chapter president's meeting. With that, if there's any other questions or comments or discussion happening in chat, feel free to stick around just a little bit. And I will get this recording posted today, this afternoon. And